All right, welcome to the Bro Show, the inaugural Bro Show.
We're Mike and Mike in the morning. I'm Mike Greenberg. That's Mike Golick, and we're here to.
No, we're not.
We're not. You're.
No, I'm Max Trujillo, and you're Jacob Young.
Yes. I guess that's true. Delusions of grandeur. Well, our Al Davis count is now at 29,740. He's been alive that many days, and God willing, he will live another 29,740 days.
God willing, yes.
But we need to explain to our listener, why we want Al Davis to live forever, because we're not on the same page on this one at all.
Well, we're on the same page that we want him to live, but I would say I want him to live for completely different reasons. Now, little background on me, I am from Northern California, San Jose. I had that idea of I was either a Niner fan or a Raider fan because it was geographically equal distance the whole time. And I decided to pick a man's team and not a homo's team. And so I'm a Raider fan, always been a Raider fan.
I know a lot of people that would disagree with you on that. I think you might have reversed it a little bit.
Well, if you did pick the 49ers in the 80s, you did it because you just like saying that you're the best. I picked the Oakland Raiders because they're my family. You can't pick your family. You are with them. And with that said, Al Davis is the father, the godfather, if you will. And a true Raider fan, and I say this until I die, a true Raider fan is a fan of Al Davis because Al Davis is the Raiders. You can't like the Raiders and say, God, why is that guy making such bad decisions? He made a lot of great decisions, and I could get into it, and I would, and I will someday. But he helped shape this beautiful game, NFL football, as we know it.
So that's why you want Al Davis to live forever.
Exactly.
See, and I understand that, and I respect that. Now, I'm on the other side of the fence here. I want him to live forever because as long as he does, you're going to always be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I am the biggest Raider hater on the planet. If I see Bo Jackson run over my Seattle Seahawks one more time, I'm just going to shoot myself.
Bosworth, right?
He ran right over the Boz.
That's very.
But
Boz and his mullet.
Like I said, as long as Al Davis lives forever, the Raiders will always wallow in mediocrity, and I'm very, very comfortable with that. And you don't even take good draft picks when you draft, so it's not like you have a great draft pick every year. You take somebody that's worth anything. Except for Jamarcus Russell, that was a huge coup for you guys.
Well, that was fantastic. We can all agree there. Now, I will actually argue this point, and I think there is some relevancy, and this won't come as me being a Raider lover or a homer pick when I say this, but if you think about Raider draft picks, a lot of them didn't work out for the Raiders. But let's think about over the years, and this is like where I cue in the Kenny Rogers through the years montage, but the Raiders draft very well for the league. Because there are many players that start off as Oakland Raiders that just don't seem to make it happen, don't get exactly what they're doing. And look, I can be honest and say it's probably because we have a very poor camp and we've never had consistency with our coaching. And so, who knows, maybe Jamarcus Russell would have been a better quarterback if he was in a good system. Probably not because he is a piece of shit. But Charles Woodson, he was a Raider. Now he's arguably the greatest defensive player of our time.
A fantasy owner's dream. I've had him 3 years in a row. Mm-hmm. The guy's averaging me about 15 points a week.
And for the listeners, we're going to reference all individual defensive players as themselves because I think Jacob and I both agree. How dare you just say that the Miami Dolphins defense is one person when clearly there are specific players that make a defense better than others. So we are in a league. Jacob's in a few leagues.
I league around.
He lives around.
I'm a fantasy football slut. I'm involved with 3 leagues. I love them all equally. That's not true.
Jeez, I thought 2. You are a whore.
There are 2 that I actually pay money for. One of them was a last-minute ESPN thing. I'm like 10 minutes before the kickoff of the first Thursday night game. I'm like, all right, sure, let's do that. And that league I'm 10-2.
Yeah.
Fuck yourself, San Diego.
Oh, that reminds me. The Raider San Diego game is coming up.
Very, very timely, I guess.
Very timely. I guess with that little cue, we do have an idea of some of our picks of the week and such. There's actually.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about what's hot, who's not. We're going to touch on a lot of things in our show, some humor, some games, some trivia, other sports, but we're going to do a lot that has to do with fantasy football because I think between the two of us, we have a vast amount of knowledge and are for the most part, successful in our leagues. Of course, understand that fantasy football is fantasy football, and you can draft the best team in injuries, and you can have this worst record, and there's a lot of luck involved. But there is a lot of smarts, too, like when you're drafting. Like, my brother and I, when we drafted for the league, the All Madden League.
Let's also say this real quick. He did say his brother, and he is a two-man Hydra team, and he gets a lot of shit about that in our league. I don't know where the listeners stand on it. I know there are a lot of people out there that do like the team by committee. You know what? It's like you're sharing an apartment with your football team. I want to live alone. I want to live and die by my rule. And I get it. I ask for opinions from other people every now and then just to get perspective. And hopefully even if a listener out there is listening to our thoughts, some of the things we might say might help you, set your lineup, and hopefully there's success there. But, to share the team is tough. Well, and we're watching right now the Red Zone Network. Green Bay Packers.
Another 10 points for Aaron Rodgers.
Donald Driver got, what is that, like a 40-yard catch and touchdown?
At least.
So they're starting to put the hurt back on. Well, I don't know. It's still a good game, though. 49ers, Packers in Lambeau. But
we're ADD here. We won't lie. We could not just do this show and look at each other and talk. We don't want to look at each other. We want to watch football. So we're doing two things at once right now.
Exactly.
Three as soon as I dare look at my fantasy football scores, which I'm not sure I want to do at all at this point.
Yeah, we're coming to you in week 13. This is a podcast. It will be pre-recorded, but we are listening to it, or we're recording it today on the 5th of December. So it is basically the last game of the season for everybody that isn't going to the playoffs, and then only just getting started. So in our league, Jacob over here and his two-man Hydra, known as Two Men and a Bunch of Babies.
Yes, and you're all a bunch of babies because we're kicking your ass. That's where the babies come from. We're number one.
They are number one by a full game lead over number two, and this season has just been crazy. There hasn't really been, in the real NFL, there hasn't been a dominant team so much as so. And last year we had a couple of teams that were undefeated for a few weeks. This week, I think all the undefeated teams were done by week 3.
Week 2 or week 3. You're right, but I would disagree with you on one point. I do think that there is a dominant team out there, and I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles because of Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, and Deshaun Jackson.
Jeremy Maclin. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, I know everybody out there is touting Atlanta. I'm not a believer in Atlanta yet. They're going to have to go all the way for me to say that they're for real.
Yeah,
especially in a division that's got New Orleans Saints.
They got to win on the road. Today they're playing Tampa Bay. If they win this game, Tampa Bay, I know we all just kind of laughed about them in the beginning, and they won a few games, and we thought, well, even a broken clock's right twice a day. Let's see how that keeps going. But, they've actually surprised everyone, and they're a pretty good team at home, got a pretty good defense, and they got a lot of heart. So if they're going to play at home on grass, and I think that's something that people don't mention about the Atlanta Falcons. They're good at home. But they're also not that good on real grass. So I want to see, can they do it? Can they be a running team? Can they be a tough team, smash you in the face team? I think they have to be that type of team to beat Tampa Bay this week. And if they do, then maybe I'll start giving them the due that they.
See, Tampa Bay doesn't do it for me with Tampa Bay either. I mean, Tampa Bay and Kansas City are the two real monster surprises of the year. I don't think you'll disagree with me on that at all. but that doesn't make them for real. It doesn't make them legitimate contenders in my eyes. I think Kansas more than Tampa has a better team because Kansas has been.
Say Kansas City is a real team nowadays because they keep evolving. They started off just winning, miracle games and just closely decided games, and then the running game really just stepped up, and that's defining any good solid team that wants to play ball control and know how to close you out needs to have a real solid run game, and they did that. They have playmakers. Their defense is opportunistic, much like the Saints were last year. They don't have necessarily a great defense, but they got some young rookies. They got some guys with youth and speed and just the ability of chance. They're doing it. I mean, they are the mini Patriots, right? I mean, they're being coached by the Patriots, the B team, But the reason why I say they're evolving is these last few weeks, Dwayne Bowe looks like Jerry Rice, looks like a young Randy Moss, and Matt Castle is starting to look like Joe Montana out there. I mean,
yeah, it took Bowe long enough though, and it took him 4 seasons to do what he was supposed to do right when he got into the league.
Yeah, I mean now he's got a relationship with the quarterback finally. Castle is still fairly new to that team, and so they are. Oh, and Brandon Jacobs just made it into the end zone again.
I think that's bad for me too.
That's bad for everybody. All right.
Well, let's get into some. Actually, let's start off with. We're going to play a game, and I want to start the game now because I want to give the listeners the chance to answer the question. Now, the game that we're going to play today is 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but the way we're going to play it is I come up with an athlete that was in a movie, Max comes up with an athlete that was in a movie, and then throughout the show, we'll try and figure it out. Connecting those two athletes through movies. You cannot use television. And for those of you who don't know how this game works, say hypothetically you take Mike Tyson in The Hangover, and then you have to connect him to Brett Favre in Something About Mary. Okay, so off the top of my head, I got to try and do this now really quick.
Well, you got Ben Stiller is a big one.
Yeah, you got Ben. So Ben Stiller was in Something About Mary with Brett Favre.
You got Tropic Thunder. I got it right there, Tropic Thunder, because then you got Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis in Due Date, and Zach Galifianakis in Hangover.
There you go. Yeah. Wow, you actually beat me. Mark this down, and it's recorded.
Nice, and that was off the top of my head.
That was. I never lose this game. I'm a little bit upset. So okay.
You've also never had this podcast and went toe to toe with Trujillo over here.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. I'm gonna.
That was an alliteration, by the way, too.
I'm gonna have to be on my guard. This is unacceptable. So my athlete, I did this because I wanted to pay homage to my friend Max and his team, and kind of throw him for a loop. The athlete in the movie I came up with was Lyle Alzado in Who's Harry Crumb.
Oh, jeez. I barely even know who's even in Harry Crumb.
And I thought you might, so I will give you...
Harry Crumb is John Candy?
Yep, there you go.
All right, well,
and that's a good lead because...
He's in a lot of stuff, or was. Funny that you should say that, and I'm not going to be so surprising because I am a homer. I was picking an Oakland Raider as well, and maybe it's our theme just for the first show, but...
Long live Al Davis.
I'm going Goonies, and I'm going Chunk. And that is, of course, the late John Matuszak.
Yes, it is.
Well, we picked 2 defensive players that played for the Raiders that were insane and both died young.
Yeah, Lyle Alzado, 92.
And 89 from Matuszak. So,
I'll be.
Wow.
Now, I want to state for the record, I will never, ever, ever again pick another Raider for this game. This was a one-time shot for you.
Thanks
and also in this game, too, we specialize in football, but we're well-versed in a lot of sports. And we're going to go over some headlines in a little bit here with you guys. But this game, we will be using all athletes, boxers, basketball players.
Hockey players?
Fuck hockey. Well, you know, was there a hockey player in the Mighty Ducks? I don't know. Fuck hockey.
All I know is I want Shatan to play for the Devils. Will he just do it so that Satan plays for the Devils? That's all I'll say.
Oh, that's funny.
But,
I like that.
or I guess he could play against.